Ramy Youssef is an Arab-American, Egyptian-American who is an actor, director, writer. He has released his first animated series called Number One Happy Family USA.
This is a show that is coming to Amazon Prime. This week, it's stills from the show have been released, and the program is going to be out in April, on April 17th. It looks very punchy. It looks very tongue-in-cheek, pretty close to the bone.
Animation is so creative, okay? Yeah. And we've seen it push so many culturally significant moments because it's so unique. It's open to everyone because you can draw any picture. And now we're getting a voice of an Arab American, and this is set in the early 2000s. So we're talking about post-9/11 America. And it's all based around the Hussein family. And it's described that the most manically upbeat, the most patriotic, and most definitely not suspicious Muslim family in post-9/11 America. Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about Ramadan and Alserkal Avenue.
And Ramy Youssef's animated post-9/11 series.
This is Culture Bites coming to you from the National News. I'm Enas and Farah.
And I'm Farah Andrews.
Hi.
Hello.
We're going to do our little chat, little catch-up session.
Here we are. How are you?
I'm really well. I'm excited about talking about this episode because anybody who follows me on Instagram would see that I got very excited about the announcement of this animated series.
Yeah.
We'll speak about that later.
Oh, you're breadcrumbing. She's breadcrumbing.
I'm breadcrumbing today.
Yeah, the Ramy Youssef announcement is extremely exciting. But we are here. So behind the curtain, we're recording this towards the beginning of the week. In reality, this comes out on a Thursday. So when this comes out, it will be 2 days until Ramadan begins, inshallah.
Inshallah. And it's such a beautiful time in the Middle East as a parent. And I know all parents, if any parent is listening, they rejoice because instead of the early hours expected from us to get our children ready, usually we have to leave the house by about 7 o'clock in the morning, which means 6 a.m. starts, which means bish bash bosh. And at Ramadan hours, it's a 9 a.m. start.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's kind.
How does that reflect into your work schedule, Enas?
Oh, I mean, my work is, we know. Last night I finished at midnight, Farah. Let's not talk about it. How many hours have I had sleep? How many? Guess.
She's here. She's in the room.
I'm still in the room. Yeah, I had about 5 hours sleep.
We've had the announcement this week that private sector is going to go down by 2 hours, 2 working hours a day in the UAE. People who are fasting 100%. But I'm surprised that the UAE is still giving shorter working hours to everybody and non-fasters.
I think it's a beautiful reflection of the culture
100%.
And the religion of the country that everybody gets to take a moment. And whether it is as parents, really happy about the 9 a.m. starts, but also, fasting is very tough on the body. And it is about taking a bit of time and reflecting. So whether it is that you're fasting or not, having that bit of time, use it to reflect.
Oh, you know what? That is such a nice point. And that's what I would do with the 2 hours that I inevitably will not work less a day. But we move.
I feel like both of us are a little bit twitchy today.
I'm not feeling very well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, let's hope Culture Bites just cheers you up.
I mean, it's already cheered me up. This has already been the best part of my day.
It's chatting to me. So we've got loads of things to look forward to with Ramadan, and there's going to be interrupting patterns at Alserkal Avenue, one of our favourite arts and culture hotspots in the UAE, which is in Dubai. They have a Ramadan programme with poetry, community theatre, and film events.
This is what I really love about Ramadan in the UAE. I love that all these cultural institutions and very popular destinations always roll out a Ramadan program because we see it makes of course they do. It makes perfect sense. It's one of the most important parts of the year in the Islamic calendar. And therefore here, like it's such an important time for family and mindfulness and presence. And institutions around the UAE have started to announce what they're doing for Ramadan. We have not had the one from the Louvre Abu Dhabi yet, but when that one does come, I know it'll be amazing because they always do such special things.
I had iftar once under the dome.
Did you?
Yeah. I think I did.
Did
I imagine this?
Did you have suhoor?
Oh, suhoor, yeah, not iftar,
with me.
I get those two mixed up. I think like in my mind as a child, we would use suhoor for like the bit just before fasting. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I would wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. My mum would come into my bedroom, and my mum was so sweet. She would always like make us like a little like breakfast in bed for suhoor. So I would have like porridge, a little breakfast in bed, and like a little prayer, and then just go back to bed.
I mean, the same way that the UAE/Dubai has done funny things with the word brunch, we've changed
suhoor has become a little different.
But it's the late night. Iftar obviously is meal straight after. It's the meal you break your fast with, and then suhoor in a lot of cafes and destinations around the UAE, it's the late night meal. That's the meal where you're sitting, you're chatting, you're nursing some hot drinks, some soft drinks into the night. You're playing backgammon.
There's
a lot of Vimto.
Vimto is a cultural icon.
Is.
I don't really understand where that came from. We should do a piece on that.
I was reading about Vimto the other day. Goodness me! Oh, this is so niche. I was editing a piece on Manchester, so we did a story about Manchester, and I was like trying to write a line of like 3 things that Manchester was famous for, and it was one of them is where Vimto's from.
No way! I'm just wondering whether like how Vimto became so important in Ramadan. That's a cultural fun thing.
Guess would be because of a huge migration to Manchester and like immigration culture, right?
Amazing. Oh, you know how I used to drink Vimto with hot water?
I mean, the British version Ribena, hot Ribena is like my favourite thing.
Well, this Ramadan, you're coming for an iftar.
And I will have a hot Vimto.
And you'll have a hot Vimto.
So the interrupting patterns, let's get back on track.
There's enough about Vimto.
There's never enough about Vimto. So the program has been announced, and like you said, it's kind of like poetry, film, artistic, kind of destination.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be happening across 2 weekends during Ramadan, so March the 8th and 9th and March 15th and 16th. And according to organisers, it's an occasion to honour the shifting rhythms and pace during the holy month and for people to come together in reflection. I think that's beautiful.
I think it's really nice. And it's clever what they've done because they've chosen the 2 weekends we know it's definitely Ramadan.
Yeah, that's true. One of those weekends is my birthday.
Oh, well, that's going to be a fun occasion.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember my Ramadan birthdays because I have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway, there are other things as well taking part in the UAE. So Ramadan tents for the suhoor pop up everywhere. And we're going to be doing an article on that as well. Or have we?
Oh, thank you so much for checking up on me like we're in a planning meeting.
Editorial planning meeting.
We have not yet released it. My colleague Saeed is doing a suhoor trail around the UAE. So obviously he has to know where the hotspots are. That man will be at a different suhoor tent every night. Yes. Go find him.
Go and find him. But also he did say to me, he was like, it's his one time in the UAE where he really feels like community just comes together in these Ramadan tents. So he was like, if you want to get to know your local community, you want to get to know like what is everybody doing, what's everyone saying, he's like, get into the Ramadan tents, meet people, speak to people, and that's like what he does.
That's the kind of on the point of community. There's a woman that I know who is an amazing PR in Dubai, and she is very embedded in her community. She does so many things. She works with animal charities. She works with she runs a free little library outside of her house where she fills up with books all the time.
Stop.
She's called Kelly Harvard, and I want to give her a big shout out because years ago, pre-COVID, she started doing a just iftars from her house for like workers and low-income people. So she was just making iftar packs and handing them out outside of her house, and then like her whole community got involved, and they were collecting things, and it was kind of like, oh, if you want to donate, send some water packets, send some fruit, send some packets of biscuits, and that sort of thing. And they were building these packs every day and giving out like hundreds a day.
Wow.
Hundreds a day.
And that is what Ramadan's about.
But it's now grown. And it's now become an even bigger initiative, and they give them out from a mosque in her community, and all of her neighbours are still so heavily involved. She is so heavily involved. She is there every day at iftar, giving out the food packages, and now they're into thousands of food packages they're giving out every single day at iftar. And I know that we see every year, we see the UAE royal family, and we see the different police forces from around the UAE at busy junctions giving out iftar packs. And so it is, you really do see that kind of community spirit coming through.
Yeah, 100%. And it is all like, you know, I feel like the generosity that's expressed in Ramadan is like so special. I mean, it does make me feel like, you know, there's other holidays, of course, that like have that generosity, but there's something about this whole month where everybody is kind of like in it together. Like everyone's kind of like, even when you get a bit grumpy, I have to admit, like I get a bit grumpy when I'm fasting, but you're all in it together. You're all in it together.
So if I'm ever going to an iftar, I always try and fast that day. But I'm not Muslim, so I don't fast for Ramadan. Yeah. But you are going to be fasting this Ramadan.
Yes, as best as I can.
That's what you can do.
Yeah. I really enjoy. No, I probably shouldn't say. I want to talk about my sister because she says she's going to fast this year, and it's like I was so emotional about it. Because like it's something that she hasn't done for a long time, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy."
Proud of her.
I mean, if she's listening, she'll either be really cross with me, probably cross with me,
or enjoy the shout out.
Shout out. I'm not saying her name so that she doesn't.
Something else that obviously is from my understanding, a very big part of Ramadan is Ramadan TV.
Hold the phone, everyone, because I think like the only thing, you know, Christmas television is obviously huge in the UK.
This is like where the parallels come. Yeah.
Parallels. But there's like, the big thing about Ramadan is that there's a special series.
Yeah.
And there's things that only happen in Ramadan. So everyone's waiting for it. I used to remember like there'd be like certain cooking shows I'd get obsessed with, and it's like the worst when you're fasting. But anyway, have we got a digest? Because I know we do this at the National.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, we do. I'm not going to give the full digest because I think everyone needs to go read it on the website, because Saeed and Faisal have rounded this up way better than I could in a quick digest. But something I learned from them recently, because I was like, gosh, this is so disorganized. Why are all these schedules coming out so late? I was giving them a bit of a hard time, like, guys, there's no way it's this late. There's no way it's this late. And then I found out it is this late. Yeah. Because the channels, the traditional channels, don't want to release their schedules because they don't want other channels to copy from them. So this is like cloak and dagger. These shows, these concepts are so under lock.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
So we're sitting here Tuesday before Ramadan starts.
There's a few more days
on Saturday,
and we don't know what the schedules are.
Everything. We know some. We do not know everything, but we've the kind of like, my understanding is like it's a time for like big drama.
Yes, big drama. I mean, from the Arabic speaking world especially. Which I wonder if there's anything English coming out. Like there must be soon.
What, big dramas?
Yeah, big dramas, but for Ramadan.
Oh, it will be in the works, but at the moment, no. It's like big Syrian dramas, big Egyptian dramas.
And like with everything, with Syria, it's just like so exciting that we're going to get TV from there again.
And then we have like the kind of key performers like Mohammed Ramadan, Mona Zaki and Yushra, and they kind of like pop up in shows year in, year out.
Beautiful.
But something I was, this year we're getting a second series of the Emirati historical drama El Boom, which launched last year, which is about the kind of the ocean and like the history and connection to the ocean here. And so that we're getting a second season of that this year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really good. I like anything that comes from this region. Like I know we've spoken before about like horror films as well that have come out of here. So much fun.
Not for me, not for me, not for me. Can I ask you about Ramy Youssef? Are you a big fan?
Ramy Youssef, why does that ring a bell?
He's the big pranker.
Ah, yes. And like his stuff does go viral. And it's like, and he's Egyptian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so every year it just seems to get bigger and bigger. It's kind of like punked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like punked, and they sometimes like target celebrities,
but maybe a bit more extreme.
Yeah, it's very extreme because they like pretend like they're doing a whole other TV show.
Often very personal.
I mean, you would live on edge. Like if you were in Egypt, you would live on edge.
If you're an Egyptian star, you're from Egypt, you're in the public eye, it's the run up to Ramadan, you're not relaxed.
Yeah, you're not relaxed. You're not relaxed. Oh gosh. Yeah, if you're interested in any of this stuff, so there's going to be a new season then.
Yeah, we've got huge roundups of everything that's coming from Ramadan
come
TV.
to the National News website and get your full digest from our fantastic reporters and incredible aficionados, Saeed and Faisal. And we're back.
Here we are.
What a lovely break. Did you break?
I feel refreshed.
So
I haven't got acting in me today, Enas.
I know, babe. I feel the energy, but I'm here for you. Let's talk about 9/11. No, so
that's always a room lifter.
No, we have Ramy Youssef. If you do not know Ramy Youssef, he is
Do a Google. Watch a TV.
I know, like I thought that actually my next door neighbor told me, she was like, you always say this on your show. You always say if you don't know. And she was like, I never know. So I feel like, and I was like, I am so sorry. So I will just
allow us to open the door. And bring you in.
To Ramy Youssef. Ramy Youssef is an Arab American, Egyptian American, who is an actor, director, writer.
And he is crushing it in the States.
He is crushing it at the moment. He has been nominated for many awards. He has been on SNL. He has directed episodes of Chef, the hugely
my favourite episode of The Bear, the episode in Copenhagen, which did also basically dictate what Eddie and I did when we were in Copenhagen.
Aww.
We walked around like we were being directed by Ramy Youssef.
Yes, Ramy Youssef. So Ramy Youssef is incredibly successful. And I think what we're seeing now is these kind of like, dare I say it, like Arab talent, like kind of rising to the top of popular culture. We have not seen this before. We have seen it now with Ramy Youssef. We're seeing it with Mo Amer. We're seeing it with like lots of different, especially comedy really resonates with people. So I feel like if you want to get a message or an idea or a thought or a kind of a philosophical outlook, you're going to use comedy in the same way that Shakespeare would have. So the fact that we're getting this top echelon of Arab comedians now bubbling their way right to the very top of Netflix, the Oscars. And now we have Ramy Youssef. I'm so excited for this. He has released his first animated series called Number One Happy Family USA.
Yes. So this is a show that is coming to Amazon Prime. So this week it's stills from the show have been released, and the program is going to be out in April, on April 17th. And it's an animation. It looks very punchy. It looks very tongue-in-cheek. It looks like it's going to be pretty close to the bone.
I think this is
But it's going to tackle things.
Yeah, well, exactly. Animation is so creative, okay?
Yeah.
And we've seen it push so many culturally significant moments because it's so unique and just it's open to everyone because you can draw any picture. We've seen it with South Park, The Simpsons. You're a fan of Bob's Burger?
I don't think they actually talk about it on here anywhere near enough, how much I love that show.
Yeah, you love that show.
It's my emotional support show.
She talks about Bob's Burger a lot off of camera. But I think that's where, like, I mean, for me, even though it's weird, right? Because South Park was actually quite grotesque, but it was so a voice of my generation. Like, I must have watched all of it.
It did things for when it came out, and it said things that just nobody else was confident enough to be able to say. And being able to package it in like 4 little cute kids from a random snowy town
was really funny.
Yeah. So one of the co-creators, Pam Brady, she is of South Park alumni. She worked on South Park Bigger, Longer and Uncut. She worked on Team America. So she's of this kind of like punchy political show stock.
And now we're getting a voice of an Arab American, and this is set in the early 2000s. So we're talking about post 9/11 America, and it's all based around the Hussein family, and it's described in their kind of like show notes. We call it show notes.
Yeah.
That the most manically upbeat, the most patriotic, and most definitely not suspicious Muslim family in post 9/11 America.
I mean, what a blurb. I love it. You can hear people saying it.
Yeah, I think
most patriotic, most definitely not suspicious Muslim.
Not suspicious. We're not suspicious.
The fact that it's set in the early 2000s when Islamophobia and anti-Arab sentiment spiked post 9/11 so significantly in the US, but the world over. I mean, it's something you'll be able to speak to very personally, but William on our team spoke to Ramy Youssef about the show yesterday, and he said that this is a premise he had wanted to see come to life for a long time. It's set in the early 2000s, which is an exciting time to look at from this vantage point. Surprisingly, a lot of the same tensions exist. So it's been fun just looking at that era of 20 years of experience. I think surprisingly, it's like I would have synonymed devastatingly and disappointingly and tragically. But the fact that he has kind of been able to step back, it's now 20 plus years later, and the world has carried on revolving, but so much has changed, and then also so little has.
I think like the scars of that time, let's make it personal. Let's make this personal. Okay.
We aren't just here to read synopsises.
Let's make this personal. As I was young when 9/11 happened, I was like a young teenager, and suddenly everything changed, and suddenly friends of mine who wore hijab, my mum was wearing hijab, and it was like suddenly eyeballs were on us in a different way, in another way.
Were you living in England at that time?
I was living in England at that time. You know, I have a middle name. I have a very Islamic middle name. My brother, myself, we started getting stopped more traveling. And this was in the UK. I cannot for the life of me imagine what it would have been like in America, where I had friends though. I mean, I had a dear friend of mine who, you know, had an Iraqi name. She doesn't look Iraqi at all. Like, she's blonde with like green eyes. She gets to America, and just in that period of time in the early noughties, what she went through to actually enter into Montana as a state was like enough that she's never returned. So I think that there's a lot of things that we haven't really fully digested. And what I feel like is happening at the moment is we are going through this kind of like cultural cleansing. Oh, she coined a term. It's a cultural cleanse. We're using culture, we're using humor, and we are finding ways to tell these stories and to like trauma share.
I think that's so important, right? Because like there's the fact that these stories, and we're seeing this pattern time and time again. Arab creators in the US are coming up with concepts that resonate so broadly, and there is a huge audience for it. Like Netflix, who have Mo, and Amazon now with this show, with Number One Happy Family USA, they aren't creating shows that they expect only one tiny pocket of one little country in the world is going to watch. They make things for a global platform. They expect these shows to resonate the world over. There will be people like you, there'll be other Arab people like you diaspora as well, that live everywhere that kind of resonate with and watch it and just think, okay, there's a huge connection. Then there's people like me who have lived here for so long and have a different kind of emotional connection to the show. And then there are also people, the way we've watched Korean TV, the way we've watched American TV, that don't need to have, there doesn't have to be a line going from like their story to this story as like a parallel.
100%. Think about it. We have grown up on The Simpsons, Friends. These are all told from an American perspective. Yeah. Great. I'm not against that. Like, I've enjoyed listening to the American story for most of my life. Fantastic. But there are other nuances to life, and there are other cultures, and there are other people with other backgrounds. And do you know what? I want to see and hear those stories too.
100%.
And so I just think that, like, in some ways we've opened up the world to this like streaming online publishing, and now we have the opportunity to hear the stories from other places just as much as, like, I think a lot of like Black Americans fought to get their stories told in Hollywood, and then we had Asian Americans fighting to get their stories told.
I mean, still fighting.
I mean, Asian American, like, again,
massively under
huge
herd market.
Huge. And we're not getting enough, like, still. Like, Crazy Rich Asians, people didn't think was going to be successful. It was wildly successful. And that's just like a pop culture film. And then we have like other films that have come since that, which is like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which won the Oscar. And you're talking about like a fantastic sci-fi, and they happen to be Asian.
It's completely impossible to put that film into like one genre. But this is like, so the way I have so many feelings about the fact that everybody now, and I hate the word, but everyone now has the potential to create content. We all have this little device that we sit in our pockets, and most of them have the ability to create like almost cinema level quality film. The person behind it isn't creating cinema level quality film, but we are creating footage that's high enough res for most people to be able to create films of that quality. And so then there's just been this like completely leveled out, completely level playing ground for incredible content to rise up. And then the kind of people that are financing it have kind of gone, okay, so we don't just need to listen to one English language pocket, whether that is from Western Europe, whether that is from the US, whether that is from other parts of the world, with just like English as like the consistent first language, and then kind of thought, okay, well, look at the complete success of South Korean content, all K content, just top of the pile consistently, and then listening and talking to every other culture and hearing these perspectives.
Yeah. There's enough space for it.
There's so much space for it.
There's enough space for everyone to have their story heard.
So the cast of number one Happy Family USA is chef's kiss.
I'm so excited for. Are you going to mention the first name?
Who do you want?
Is it Alia?
Yeah,
I love her.
Alia Shawkat from Arrested Development. What a show!
But I love her in Eyes Wide Shut. She's brilliant in that.
She's brilliant. She's such a good actress.
Lebanese background.
She stars as so Youssef voices Ramy, who is a hopeful 12-year-old boy with a big imagination. He also takes on the role of Hussein, the father, who is a former cardiothoracic surgeon who now runs a halal cart. Hussein's halal cart, per the imagery.
Beautiful.
Alia Shawkat plays Mona, the family's golden child. So then other people in the cast, we've got Salma Hindi, a comedian, Chris Redd, and Mandy Moore.
Oh, that's a throwback.
I've got a soft spot for Mandy Moore.
But what interesting, like, it's great to bring a voice from the noughties, right? And bring her back into what she did there.
I see.
You see the vision.
Yes.
Ramy, I can see your vision. Yeah. So we haven't seen this. We just have to put this out there. Like, you know, like, as journos, like, especially, I'm always like messaging Netflix, they never respond. Can I have a link, please, to this thing that you're advertising? This is advertised, actually. This is going to come down on Amazon Prime. We have not received a link, but we know the release date.
Yeah,
What, are you going to get a link?
I could help you with links.
Stop. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, they're
now
tricky.
She tells me
they're tricky because they're always watermarked. They don't want everyone getting links, right?
I'm going to watch it with a watermark.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not recording this.
Something I also, we've gone off track here, but I wanted to talk about British Iraqi journalist and illustrator Mona Shalabi. Do you know who she is? We're going off piece a little bit, but you and I recently did a data visualization workshop together.
Ah, yes.
Do you remember when I showed you the illustrated data visuals from I told you it was like that basically she is an artist and she draws data and just makes it incredibly digestible. She did so much during COVID. Everything that's happening in Gaza, she creates these like absolutely heartbreaking illustrations of kind of like ways of just breaking down some of the numbers of what's happening. But it's about everything. She does things about gender, race, war, disease. So her Instagram, 100% worth a follow, and she is one of the producers on the show. I remember last Ramadan, because I followed her on Instagram, she was in New York and she was like, I'm at iftar with Ramy Youssef and I've got his Tupperware, so I need to take it back to his house. And I was like, hello.
What is this clique?
I want to be in that club. And now it turns out I really did want to be in that club.
You did want to be in that club.
I really wanted to be in that club.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I mean, I cannot etch this enough in my mind. April 17th.
Well, April 17th.
If I don't get the code from you first.
April 17th, you and I will just
Amazon
go
Prime.
and we'll go sit in a room together and watch it.
I've got a projector.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah,
We'll
come
project
over.
it. We'll project
We can project it on the. The only thing is watching. So animated series. Obviously, they're quite confusing for children, like the adult animated.
Yeah.
Like my children, they'll see if they like catch me watching Rick and Morty, for instance.
They assume it's on for them.
It's not. Okay, recommendations of the week. You haven't put it in the notes, so...
I'm mysterious. So let's do you first.
Okay, let's do me first. I am recommending this week 1,000 Blows, which is a new series on Disney+. It's by the creators of Peaky Blinders. It's set in Victorian England, and I'm only one episode in, but I loved it. And and I loved it. It's set in Victorian England. It follows the kind of like the trail of two Jamaican men who land in East London. East London. It's absolutely filthy looking, by the way.
East London?
Yeah, I mean
still.
Don't say still is. But yeah, it's quite grimy. And then you have these like two like very interesting characters that have just landed in East London, and they go to a boxing match. I'm going to leave it there. You probably get it from the title, 1,000 Blows. Am I a fan of boxing? No. Did I have to use a pillow to cover my face? Yes. But the screenplay, fantastic. Honestly, whoever does the rendering for their series, because Peaky Blinders has this like gritty, grey feeling. This has got kind of like a musty feel. I don't know how they do it. So yeah, great television. Disney+.
Well, there we go. My recommendation, I was going to recommend Apple Cider Vinegar, the show about Belle, not Mel, Gibson, that has landed on Netflix. But I feel like everyone's watched it, everyone's loved it, everyone's been
Seen
it. So I am not going to recommend that because you've all watched it. And I'm going to recommend Cat Lady by Dawn O'Porter. Do you know who Dawn O'Porter is?
Yes.
Wife of Chris O'Dowd.
Chris O'Dowd.
And she is a journalist. Have you?
Yeah.
She's like another one of my Instagram loves. And she is also a brilliant, brilliant author. Cat Lady, it started off as not my favourite of her books. I'd say for the first quarter, I was like, okay, this is a fine read. And then it just like picked up. It's about a character called Mia who is in her 40s. She obviously has a cat. She loves her cat. And things are going fine for her. And then they start going not so fine for her.
Ooh.
And it is a bit heart-wrenching. But then ultimately there is like hope for her and her character. And I loved it.
Lovely. Yeah, what a nice way to end this episode. Well, thank you everybody for listening. That's it for today. If you like this episode, then please like, follow, subscribe on all your podcasting apps.
Be sure to follow at The National Arts on social media and catch new episodes of Culture Bites every Thursday.
Bye.